The VAdio show is brought to you by We Care Transport for Kids and Platforms Shoe Boutique.
Boy, you're sure in a hurt. You think you can treat me like dirt and then get away with it, honey. Well, you got another thing coming now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the People Show, the VAdio show. And I know a lot of you probably didn't know, but I am of Cherokee Indian heritage. So this subject in particular is near and dear to my heart. And the name of this one is No Thanks, No Giving. Now, Napoleon once said that history is a set of lies that were agreed upon. And I definitely agree with that. And I got a few people here from my tribe that want to speak to you all just about what really happened, a real truth on this place we call America. And I want you all to introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
Hi, my name is Betty Williams, and my Indian name is Eagleheart.
Awesome.
And I'm very proud to have my Cherokee heritage and to be here, and I thank you for having us.
Glad to have you.
My name is Chief Walt Red Hawk Brown with the Cheroenhaka Nottoway Indian Tribe of South African Virginia. Thanks for having us.
Glad
In
to
our
have you.
Iroquois language, we say Osio, Bapatsa Santa, Iniha, Ikiyin.
Yeah.
Hello, strong, honorable men and strong, honorable women.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
My name is Chief Lone Wolf Marshall Couch, and I'm proud to be here today. I'm the principal chief of Red Tribe, and I think this has been a long time, but we thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here.
My name is Rosalie Sacred Sparrow Evans. I'm second vice chief of the Appalachian Cherokee Nation.
I'm Joan Reynolds. Rain Singing is my Indian name. I'm Hunkpapa Lakota and Iroquois, half Hungarian, and I've been adopted into the Cherokee tribe.
Awesome.
And
We are glad to
married
have
a Cherokee
you.
man.
Awesome.
So, but I do have Lakota regalia.
Awesome.
In honor of my original tribe.
I'm glad to have you all
Thank
here.
you.
And
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to ask y'all some serious questions because I think it needs to be put out. I'm tired of the truth not being told as to where we are, this place that we live. And the first question I have for y'all, you know, they say that America was discovered by Christopher Columbus. And I kind of see that as the same thing as somebody discovering my house while I'm in the back room. So I want y'all to explain how you feel about it, or someone to explain how you feel about that, and give me some truth on this discovered America.
But first of all, America was not discovered.
Okay.
I mean, first people were already here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's some doctrine of which I agree with, that when the continents were connected, the Bering Straits,
Mhm.
that we came by way of Asia, etc.,
Mhm.
across the Bering Straits. This was eons ago.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm talking about, you know, hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Right.
Okay? So we were here when Columbus came here. Matter of fact, the Vikings came before Columbus did.
Right.
Okay?
Mhm.
So why would he come and name us Indians? Because he thought he had landed somewhere in
India. Yes.
But we already had a name for ourselves,
Mhm,
okay? We
mhm.
were first people, like my tribe, we call ourselves Cheroenhaka,
Mhm.
which means people at the fork of the stream. So we were not discovered.
Right.
That is a misnomer in the annuals of colonial history,
Mhm.
that America was discovered. Discovered by the colonials.
Right.
I mean, they're the ones that came, but we were already here.
Right.
So,
right.
so how can you say you discovered someplace when people are
People
already
already there. Right, exactly. And, you know, I guess what frustrates me the most is, and the teachers and the politicians that are in office, everybody that's in there now, I don't blame them at all, but it's a passed down lie. It's in our history books. So our kids are coming out and saying that, you know, we're celebrating Christopher Columbus Day, everybody's getting let off of work and things like that. And this guy was a tyrant. there was a lot of horrible things going on. You know, it's genocide and things of that nature. They came through and wrecked shop. So, I mean, is there anybody else that wants to speak on that, or I can move on to the next? As in for Columbus Day, how do you feel about Columbus Day?
Well,
You can keep it simple.
I think that, you know, like Chief Waltbrand said, that it's all been misleading, that we were here, my people were here, Chief Waltbrand's people here, our people and Chief Brown's people, we fought alongside each other, Nottoways, Cherokee Nottoways and the Cherokees. And so we were here, and so we've been well in the books that put there. And one I like about it is when General Washington and the Cherokees had a battle, and they were in Winchester, Virginia. And this is documented, and General Washington spoke of the tribe, saying if it wasn't for the Cherokees, we would have lost the battle. So, you know, and I think we were here, you know. No doubt in my mind.
No doubt about it.
Back in them day, I wasn't there, but we were, my peoples were
Our
here.
ancestors were there.
Yeah, it's documented. There's bones. There's plenty of things to let people know.
That's another issue, speaking of Native American bones now.
Yeah, right. True indeed. And I mean, even at this point, it's like, I said this before. Say when was the last time you went to a Burger King and seen an Indian family sitting down? You know what I mean? A lot of people on my African American side feel like that they had it horrible. We got a lot of stuff that we can talk about, but us Indians wiped out.
Yeah, and plus we were slaves before the Africans.
Yeah, exactly.
We were incorporated into slavery.
We were the first slaves.
Yeah, matter of fact, I mean, speaking of slavery, in 1711, when Provisional Lieutenant Governor Alexander Spotswood showed up on our reservation, which was 41,000 acres in South Essex County, he had 1,600 armed men with him, and he was trying to get the chief men to send their sons to the Brafferton, the school for Native Americans at William and Mary, and it's quoted by the chief men saying that we're not going to send our sons because you're going to sell them into slavery.
Wow.
That's in the annals of colonial history.
Wow.
So not only did they take our land and abuse our women, but they also sold us into slavery. Matter of fact, at the end of the Tuscarora War in 1713, some 300 Tuscaroras were taken to South Carolina and put in slavery.
Wow. It's just disrespectful, just how his whole thing is
I would
carried.
like to say something.
Go ahead, Rosalie.
There's an old saying among the Indians that Christopher Columbus and the Pilgrims came here. When they came, they had the Bible, we had the land. Now, we have the Bible, and they have the land.
Things swapped up, but I guess we got the best thing in the game then right now.
But they took the land.
They took the land. They took it. And I guess that takes me to my next thing. Thanksgiving. You know, it's all put out as, you know, it was some nice meal. We all ate corn and smoked peace pipe together. What happened? What really happened?
Well, Thanksgiving was basically a tradition brought here by the colonials. Okay, I mean, which is good.
Yeah, no problem with it.
And Native people, and I say first, were it not for Native people, the first people that arrived here in America, colonials, they would have not survived. Okay.
Right.
So Thanksgiving was a celebration that was established, and Native people, because of the friendship that they were trying to establish with the colonials, would bring things like meat, like turkey, you know, language we say canoe, you know, Iroquois language, you know, and share in the feast. But it was still a colonial tradition that was brought here, even though in our native walk now we celebrate that. Mennonites celebrate Thanksgiving, okay?
Gotcha.
But it's still something that was brought as a part of colonial traditions. But it's amazing that people don't realize that when the colonials first came here, Native people didn't really attack them when they first came.
Right.
They were trying to support them, trying to be friendly.
Right.
It was the colonials that began to attack us first.
So it was kind of a stab in the back, pretty much.
Exactly.
Okay, well that leads me to my next thing, and because it's been a big stink about this going on, and I really want to hear it from the source. How do you all feel about Redskins? It's the football team. They call the Redskins, and they're trying to change the name. How do you all feel about it?
But I share my view, and I've shared it before. Okay. And I've been quoted before. There is an adjective in front of the name Redskins for the Washington Redskin players. It doesn't say Indian Redskin. It says Washington Redskin.
Okay.
Which denotes the players on that team. Okay. I personally, I didn't see that name as offensive because of the adjective associated with it. What I found offensive was that my president said it was offensive. But what I found offensive is there are 11 state-recognized tribes in Virginia, and nothing has been done to give them federal recognition.
Right, let's talk about that.
We were the first people to have contact with the colonials, not the native people out west who constantly warred against the colonials. Okay? We were the first to have contact right there at First Landing, down where Fort Story is, where the Chesapeake Indians first contacted the colonials. So we had first ethnohistoric contact with the colonials, so why should we be last to be federal recognized?
That's a
and
problem.
tribes out west are being federal recognized?
The first people here.
Exactly.
The first people here.
Exactly.
And that's how, at first, when I heard the whole Redskin thing, I wasn't really making a big deal out of it, but from some people's standpoint, I guess it was like looking at it like the California coons or something like that. And I was like, okay, if it looks like that, okay, take it down. But otherwise, I didn't see a problem with it either.
And in reference to the Redskin name, there are other entities in Canada, and I'm not going to call it a name, that pushed real hard to get rid of the name Redskin. They also did the same thing with the Colors of Women Mary, the tribe, and the Two Feathers.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
and my
gone
daughter
now.
attended Women Mary. Now, the Brafton was established at Women Mary for Native people. So that means Women Mary College is a part of my Native history.
Yeah,
so
right.
I had no problem with the Two Feathers and being called the tribe, because that's saying, that's talking to my history.
Again, that was first
so,
your
and
school.
when you negate first people's history, you take away their people.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
that's what's happened with Chief Couch on his plight for state recognition. You're trying to take away his history. You're trying to take away his people. So you're trying to kill the whole nation again. Is that not documentary genocide? The same thing that Dr. Walter Plecker did between 1912 and 1946?
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And speaking of recognition, Rosalie, if you could help me out, or someone can help me out, just I know that with the recognition of the Cherokee Nation, we're not looking for any money, but when it comes to our kids and our families, that allows us to be able to get more scholarships and things like that. Am I right?
Exactly. And as far as us getting grants, it makes it easier for our tribe to function and for us to be able to get grants and our kids to get scholarships.
We're going to talk more about that in the next segment. Anybody have anything else that they needed to say? Because I want to get everything out.
This manifest destiny. I can't recall the exact word when the colonials first came. They came here with the mindset that they had the right to take the land because they coined the native people as not being spiritual. They coined them as not being Christianity. And because of that, in the Magna Carta and in that manifest destiny they created, they gave them the right to actually take the land.
Wow.
That's what they used to take the land. Like they took 41,000
Make them feel okay about
it. Took 41,000 acres of reservation land from us.
Wow.
If I could say something on that. When they came here, they said that we didn't have no spiritual guidance, but we did. Actually, we was more spiritual than they were, because the Cherokee, he doesn't own any land. The Creator owns the land, and we give him all the praises for it. We don't. The Cherokees didn't want to own the land. They know who owned the land because it gave us food, medicine, and everything we needed. And so, for the people to try to keep us down from what we are trying to accomplish, it's really bad.
We Care Transport for Kids offers parents a safe, community-trusted, and reliable children's transportation service. We Care transports kids to and from school and on to other after-school activities such as aftercare, tutoring lessons, sports, and other enrichment programs. We also have wheelchair vans for transporting children with special needs. So if you're in need of a reliable and affordable door-to-door service, give us a call. We Care is not just a name, it's what we do.
Wardrobe provided by Upscale Men's Fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the VAdio show, the People Show. And again, the name of this episode is No Thanks, No Giving. Now, the Indian tribes of Virginia they migrated here between the 1400s and the 1500s. And by 1650, there was 30,000 citizens in this area. But they still don't want to give us recognition. And I got some guys here who are going to help us get to the bottom of that. I want you all to introduce yourself, let the people know what you do, and then we'll get into the whole subject of the recognition. Starting with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you. I'm Kenny Alexander, member of the Senate of Virginia. I sponsored the resolution to give state recognition to the Cherokee Nation Indian tribe for several years in a row. And
awesome.
It's a pleasure to be here and to work with my gentleman to the left of me.
Pleasure to have you, and thanks for fighting for us.
Good morning. My name is Chief Walt Red Hawk Brown. I'm chief of the Cheroenhaka Nottoway Indian tribe in Southampton County, Virginia. We are a state-recognized Iroquois tribe, and we say Osio, Bakwatsa Santa,
Osio.
Iniha. Hello and good afternoon, honorable men.
Yes, sir.
My name is Marshall Couch, Chief Marshall Couch of the Appalachian Cherokee Nation, and we want to thank you for inviting us here.
No problem at all, Chief.
And my name is Greg French, and I'm a tribal councilman of the Appalachian Cherokee Nation, and I have been heavily involved with Senator Alexander and the tribe in the efforts to try to obtain state recognition for our tribe.
Okay, awesome. Well, I got a question for you all. Like I said, we've been in this area since between the 14 and 1500s. Why won't they give us that recognition? What comes with the fight? And let me know why you think that they won't give us this recognition. And whoever wants to answer, that's fine.
Well, a state recognition from the General Assembly is not really saying that who you are, because we know who we are.
Right.
Okay? We are first people here in Virginia. Okay. As an example, my ethno-history in my tribe goes back to 1585, and so does Chief Marshall Couch. The key is the state recognition says that you agree, General Assembly, with who we say we are. Okay. And the caveat is, why should First People or Native Americans continue to have to prove who they are to someone?
Right.
If someone is African American, Portuguese, Mexican, white, whatever, you don't walk up to that person and say, well, you prove to me who you are.
Right.
But why is it that Native Americans in our walk on the Red Road, we have to constantly prove who we are?
Yeah, that's a problem. That is a problem. You know, a lot of people have heard, or if they haven't heard, that we're looking for the recognition. What are you all doing in the fight for that? Like, what's happening with that?
Yeah, great question. There's been advocacy, if it had not been for Chief Brown and Chief Couch just being vigilant and keeping the pressure on the General Assembly, they won't give recognition. There was a council, the Council on Indians in Virginia. That council is defunct. The legislation or that resolution has been repealed. Now it's a case-by-case shot.
Gotcha.
We appeared before the General Assembly last year with the support of Chief Brown and with Chief Couch being there. We spoke before the Rules Committee 2 years in a row. It passed the Senate of Virginia, got to the House of Delegates Rules Committee, and was no action. It was just tabled. So we have a letter before the governor. Okay. And we met with Secretary Stoney, Secretary of the Commonwealth. Chief Brown spoke on our behalf as well. And we're hoping that the governor will give us the green light and signal to the speaker that he wants this resolution on his desk for signature. And that's where we are today.
Okay, yeah. Awesome.
And what's so interesting is that even when if I could piggyback on what he just said, what the senator just said, even when the VCI was in being, which is now defunct, okay, in some instances they refuse to agree with the research that 3 professors at Radford University did under Governor Belaya's watch when they put it in the Virginia Annual. Okay, it showed that the Cherokee Nation was located in the western quarter of Virginia. Now, when I approached the VCI pertaining to that, they wouldn't agree with me. So the information I gave them was this. I said there are 6 volumes of the executive journals to the Council of Colonial Virginia, volumes 1 through 6, which is a facsimile of all the minutes that the council kept when the capital was in Williamsburg. And in 1750, in Volume 3, it says that the Appalachian Cherokee, the Cherokee that were in Virginia, met in what is now Richmond, Virginia, under white flag of truce with the Cheroenhaka and Nottoway.
Wow.
So they were always there in Marion, Virginia, in the area where Chief Marshall Couch people is located now. But for some reason, people have a tendency to not want to believe history. I mean, we didn't write it.
Right.
The colonials wrote it.
Right.
We were not there. It's just like the hand site excavation that was done in Southampton County, where 131 skeletal remains of my ancestors were dug up, and their bones are there laying in shoeboxes. It's dated back to 1585.
Right.
Okay. So we know that we're here because we've always been here.
Right.
The key is that, and I say this again, we have to constantly try to prove who we are.
Right.
Okay. And that's what Chief Couch has been running into 3 times before the General Assembly. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Because all of their ethno-history is documented as to who they are.
Right.
So why should they be continually denied state recognition?
Well, I'll tell you something else. You have brought to my attention, I want you to speak on it. On the Virginia Tourism website, it clearly states that the Cherokees were here. That's one of their big draw-ins, is the presence of the Cherokee Nation here in their history. They said it. I'm trying to see how far they said it dated back. I mean, they said 1630s, 1700s. They said it here. This is their website. Why would they say something like that, then turn around and not want to give you recognition like you weren't here when they said you were?
Yeah, I'm at a complete loss for trying to explain what their actions have been. As you pointed out, the tourism site kind of brags about the fact that the Cherokees were a part of Virginia's history.
Yeah.
The first interaction between the English settlers and the Cherokee tribe was 1634. And so the Cherokees, the majority of the time, they lived in the western part, the southwestern part of the state, all the way up to Lake Danville in Halifax County, where my ancestors originated. And we still live there. The Cherokees and the Cherokee descendants, and I being one, we've lived in the western part of Virginia since the 1600s and 1500s. Okay? Now, what we have done, the Cherokees have done, we've been assimilated into the culture of Virginia. I have some stories to tell about southwestern Virginia and the little county of Dixon County, where my father told me that when his dad, my grandfather, who was an attorney, when they heard that the revenuers, as they called them, federal agents would come to town, that they were to go out and to seek all their friends and who were Cherokee descendants to go and hide for a few days, so that they would not be counted and they could not be sent away. And so that occurred during the 30s and the 40s. And that combined with some of the ugly times during the Walter Plecker administration, from 1917 up until 1967, till Racial Equality Act was signed. It was illegal for an Indian child to be born in Virginia. You had to be registered as a white or as a Negro, as an African American.
That's crazy.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Virginia has a long history of racist policies, and we've been trying to come to terms with this through my entire life. I've lived in Virginia my entire life. I'm 56 years old, and we're still fighting the battles today.
That's great. And the African American community think we have it bad. But when was the last time you went to Walmart and seen an Indian family just sitting down?
Could I piggyback off of Walter Plecker for a second, please? Well, Dr. Walter Plecker, who became the first director of the Bureau of Light Statistics in 1912. Before 1912, there were no birth certificates in Virginia. Of course, he held that position until his death in 1946. But he was part of the eugenics movement. That was a movement wherein they were trying to create one supreme race of people, which was white. And everything else, as Tina Marie says, he put it in a mixing bowl and called it colored, okay? And up until the 1924 Racial Integrity Act, then some Native people were reclassified as Negro, as black, as mulatto, etc. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why in 1968, when the Supreme Court basically overthrew the damage that Plecker has done. He's a hated name among Native American people. Okay, they gave Native people in Virginia the right to come to the Bureau of Light Statistics with proof and have their birth certificates or birth records not changed but corrected because of all the damage that he did. Okay, but he caused a lot of, and that's one of the reasons why the 6 tribes that are vying for federal recognition by way of Congress now. And if you kept time with the Virginia pilot, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, when Chief Adams and Chief Atkins made the statement that we are bypassing the BIA because of all the racial integrity things that documentary genocide is the word we're looking for. Because Pleka created documentary genocide. He changed individuals' race, the race identifier, okay? And they said it would take 100 years to get that. So they're going to Congress to try to get their federal recognition. But Pleka caused a lot of problems for Native people in Virginia. And it's still going on. It is still alive.
Say if we get this recognition, when we get this recognition, what is this going to help with us, because we're not really looking for anything monetary, as you were saying. But what is this going to help with the recognition?
Well, it will give us more opportunities to fill out like grants and stuff. Not state grants or federal grants. It would be individual grants that is available for us. Right. And a lot more things that we would qualify, which wouldn't change anything in the state of Virginia. We're not trying to change anything in the state of Virginia, but just get what we need to operate our tribe.
Right. And that sounds fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So it also gives him the right, his tribe the right, that their crafts, and he mentioned crafts, their arts and crafts, to market those crafts as authentic Native American made. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, unless you're state recognized, you can't do that. Okay. You can do your crafts, but the state will not honor it
as authentic. Otherwise.
Exactly. But state recognition will give the Appalachian Cherokee the right, and they have some great craftsmen.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. And to sell their wares and stuff, and it'll be stamped authentic Native American made.
And that way we can make our own monies and run our own tribes the way we want to without any outside help. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the VAdio Show, and this is No Thanks, No Giving. Please check us after the break. We got more for you.
A message from one of our proud sponsors.
Platform Shoe Boutique, comfortably located in the Hilton Shopping Center in Newport News at 9622 Warwick Boulevard. Encounter a warm, friendly environment, inviting you in for a fresh complimentary tea and coffee. Relax, take it all in, and enjoy your shoe experience.
They trying to innovate pizza. Turn it around, eat it from the crust, eat it sideways, put it this way, make it square, make it look like a stop sign. I don't care what you do with it. It ain't nothing but a pizza.
Right.
Am I right about it, man?
100%.
And here's a message from one of our proud sponsors.
Hi. Oftentimes, I like to think, I like to ponder the great questions of our day, like, who is Jerry and why did he have his own curl? Just let your soul go! I consulted the most dependable source of our day, Wikipedia.com. Just let it shine through. Jerry Redding, born Robert William Redding, was an American hairdresser, chemist, hair care products entrepreneur, and businessman. Redding is best known for having created the Jerry curl. In 1990, Redding was inducted into the National Cosmetology Foundation's Hall of Fame. Without the Jerry curl, we would not have enjoyed the comedy of Robin Harris.
Oh, how you doing? I should have known you was in here. I saw the drippings from the driveway.
It's often a misconception that only West Coast wore the Jerry curl, when in fact, many also rocked the permed product. This has been a 30 Seconds of Black Random Musing and a great moment in American hair history. Thank you.
Black, 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 black.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are back to the People's Show, the VAdio Show. And we're going to continue this subject. We'll actually conclude with this subject. There's a misconception that they think that the settlers came in and they taught us a whole bunch of things and, you know, got our act together. But what really happened? Please let the people know.
Well, the intruders assumed that the native people did not have a refined culture, which they actually did have. And they had their own language. They were a religious people. They believed in a supreme being, and they worshipped God in the way they thought best for their needs. But they did worship God. They did worship
extremely
the supreme
spiritual.
being.
Yes. Extremely.
And not only that, but the native people were class conscious. Few people know that because myths are perpetuated about the Indian. We were known as savages, and that wasn't at all true. As a matter of fact, there were times when the Indian people thought that the whites who invaded were the savages. And of course, as we know now, it was all about land, but the Indian was the carekeeper of the land. Respected everything, every living thing.
Because they knew everything worked together.
Exactly. So one of the things I would be interested in having the public understand is that most of what they have heard about the native people has been myths perpetuated by old westerns, as an example. Was it the Lone Ranger as Tonto?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But the Lone Ranger knows everything. Tonto knows absolutely nothing and has been taught by the Lone Ranger. This was not so. This was not so, and there were.
It was the other way around in most
That's
cases.
exactly right. Medicine, food ways, a lot of those things were taught to the newcomers by the Native Americans.
And savages don't do that.
No,
they don't teach people things.
No, they don't.
And speaking of land, I know you are well versed in how this land was divvied up. We were pushed west, the Trail of Tears. Just give us a synopsis on that, please.
Well, Native people, their land was owned from a communal aspect. Everybody owned it because it belonged to Quakahante in our language, who was the creator, who is our Lord and Savior. Okay? But what happened was, when the colonials came here on this manifest destiny, because they portrayed us as not having a supreme being, I believe in Christianity or Christ, so that gave them the right, so they thought, to take our land. Now, how can you take something that already belongs to someone else? As an example, then they put us on reservations. How can you put somebody on a reservation when the land is already yours? As an example, in 1705, the House of Burgess granted us 41,000 acres of reservation land in what is now Southampton County in Paula, Isle of Wight. The land was already ours. Okay? Then 1735, all of a sudden, the land began to be sold off because they said we owed the government money, or we owed the government money based on the trustees who actually ran the reservation and actually controlled everything. And when the governor asked the trustees for receipts, they said the Cheroenhaka and Nottoway come in, they get a bunch of rum, because they were drunkards, that's what they said. Okay? Meat and blankets, and they don't keep receipts. So then they asked for a special census, and a special census was done. But the last piece of land in 41,000 acres of reservation, which was already ours, disappeared in 1875. And then in 2009, we reclaimed, by way of purchase, another 100 acres of that land. And speaking of the things that we gave to the colonies didn't know anything about corn.
No.
They didn't know anything about tobacco.
No.
They took our corn and made it a cash crop, and took our tobacco and made $1 million on it.
Sir.
You know, shipping it back to Europe and every place else. You know? So were it not for us, they would have been lost.
Exactly.
They would have been lost.
Yeah. it's a sad situation, and you know, I'm proud to see what we've all become and what we're fighting for. We still stand for something. You know, instead of just running after the dollar and trying to be what they want us to be, we're still standing for what we actually are. And I want you to touch on that too. We had spoke on the break.
You know, I'm very proud of my Cherokee heritage. My Cherokee family and I came from the Appalachians in Southwest Virginia. A lot of my people up there, their land was taken. They heard that they were going to have to get rid of their lands, their families, their homes, and get onto the Trail of Tears. So some of my people escaped into the woods to flee from this torture of, because they knew that that would not be a pleasant trip for them.
Right.
And Elijah Hicks, he was my second cousin, 3 times removed. He was editor of the Phoenix Chronicle Indian newspapers. And he was forced to leave his land, his family, along with the rest of my family, to go on the Trail of Tears in 1838. They were beaten, they were starved, and you know, just the thought of having to do something you regretted, giving up your land, giving up everything you own, and just did not seem right.
It isn't right. It wasn't right. But, you know, I'm glad we were able to have this conversation. I hope you all were enlightened and learned a little bit about this false history that you've been hearing. This is the VAdio Show. This was No Thanks, No Giving, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.
The Hawks cry.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you very much.
Thank y'all so
Thank you,
much.
Chief Brown.
Oh, my pleasure, honey. My pleasure.
Thank you.